Okay, gracias. So I will start by saying that the live lessons for this Spanish 2 online course, they are going to be available to each classmate, and they will be available during these times on Tuesdays at 8:30, and I will share the recording out afterwards. My intent is to always try to review at least a little bit of each assignment that's within the course, but I also know that I like to try to keep these right around 30 minutes because it is a Tuesday night at 8:30, and for anybody that's watching the recording afterwards, it might be a little bit difficult to listen for longer than 30 minutes. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share in the chat first my presentation, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so I'm sharing the presentation, which you can open it if you would like, but now I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen to kind of show what we're looking at here. Okay, so this presentation is posted inside of the course, and I can see that you joined there. So this is posted inside of the course, and this is what I will use to put every single agenda. So here we can see El 15 de junio, and this is the agenda for tonight. And I'll add any additional notes or any additional slides after it for what we've kind of gone over. And then next week, there will be another agenda that says live lesson for Tuesday's date. And right after it, I will always, and basically I just duplicate this slide and I get rid of this info, and this will be where the recording is placed. So there's always going to be one location that you can go to view all of the live lesson notes and recordings. So for tonight, I have an agenda just to first say welcome. It's day 2 of summer school, and I know that I have taught some of the Spanish 2 students before, Michaela, and I have also also even at this time with day 2, there are still students who are being enrolled in summer courses as well as they may be withdrawing. So just know that I wanted to kick off the week with a live lesson to get started, because there will really only be 6 live lessons total, because summer school started yesterday and it runs through July 27th. So it's really, really fast. So we'll only really have 6 meetings that are like this. So I did want to just start with a meet and start with a recording tonight. So welcome to everybody. I'm Miss Powell. And with that being said, with this live lesson number 1, I've kind of already discussed how many there will be and how they will be shared afterwards. And the live lesson information is always available in the course on a live lesson tab. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this here for a second. So on our announcement page, you will be able to see. Let me just go ahead. Here's our announcement page here. This is where all of the most recent information will be held, but there's also and I'm not viewing as a student here. Let me go ahead and do this very quickly. I should have had this ready. So on the left side here are all of the necessary tabs that you'll need or that you may want to access. The live lesson information is always listed here. So if I were to click here, the presentation is going to be listed right here for that one place where you can always go to look at these items. So if I jump back to our agenda, the first item on it is to review the orientation. So I'm going to just spend some time really quickly taking a look at one of the first 3 assignments. So some of the first few assignments, they are sign up for Remind, which is one of them. I'll show you where it's at. The next one is introduction 1 and 2. And then the last one is an online orientation. So once you start here, the orientations and introductions are listed here, as well as those assignments. So the course orientation is to just get you acquainted with, and let me go back here. Let me close this. The course orientation is to get you acquainted with the online environment. So some of us has been taking or participating in online courses for a while, but there are also some students who may not have taken a class through Grimble Online, just different experiences. So what this does is it forces you to look in the class and find out important information. So once you make your copy, you're going to go ahead and you can change the name of it. So I might say Miss Powell's Summer 2021 course. And then there's information here to help you as far as taking screenshots or how to create audio and video, because that's two things you'll need to do in this class. And then you're just looking at some info. So item 1 says locate your teacher's contact info and enter it here. So on the announcement page, when you're looking at the information, my contact info is listed here. So you can copy and paste it, you can take a screenshot, but you'll put that information in this first blank. Many of you just typed in my cell phone number because we've been in touch, but any contact info you can list there because I want for you to each know how to get in touch with me. Item 2, submit a screenshot that you've signed up for Remind. So I receive a notification that you sign up, but you can take a picture once you've signed up for it and place it in here. And that Remind is that assignment that's listed here, Remind, and all the information to sign up for it is there. Item number 3, submit an image of your current grade for this class. So we need to remember that during the summer, grades are housed inside of the course. So there's going to be a grades tab here for students, and you'll access grade books. And some of you may have 100% or just a blank line for right now, but you'll click on that and take a screenshot and you will submit that here in item 3. Item 4 says locate the inbox and send me a message. So each student, this messages tab has an inbox where you will access that and send any message. Hola, some people just said scavenger hunt or orientation, but you're going to send me a message because this inbox will use throughout the semester. Item 5, how are grades calculated in this online course? So where you find that info is going to be under course information, and there is a grading policy. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. So online courses, and this is a little bit different because it's summer, but online courses are what we call cumulative. You have one coursework grade, which is 80% of your grade, and then you'll have a final exam, which is 20. And you can always build on your grade. So in the summer, it is just one semester, but just know that you can always go back to previous assignments that have passed and do them, and they will be factored into your grade. So this is what you'll take a screenshot of and submit it in that item number 5. Item number 6 talks about the day of our meet, and it says Google Meet, but I turned to Zoom when we got Zoom in Granville County. So that information can be taken straight from our presentation here, Tuesdays at 8:30. So you could take a screenshot of that and submit it. And then item number 7, where are the pacing guides? So something that's really nice about taking an online class, I'm going to go back to announcements for summer. But what's really nice about taking an online class is that everything is going to be posted. If you have plans this summer and you don't want to wait to finish the course until July 27th, you can finish it by July 14th if you wanted. All of the information I can post as it kind of needs to be and by dates. So down here on the right corner, there is a pacing guide. There are 7 units, and you know what? Oh, never mind. I was going to move it over. But there are 7 units in this course. And those 7 units all have due dates already provided for you. So if come right around, July 7th, there's a due date, but you might be doing something for July 4th. You can complete this work prior to that due date. So that way you don't need to kind of play catch up. But all of the due dates are here. So you'll want to locate this pacing guide. And then it is also under course information, the course schedule. It's also listed here. So you can take a screenshot of that and submit it there. Okay. And item 8, each course will provide an overview of an assignment checklist. So the assignment checklists You can access them here using the image, and I've shared it that you can just access the first link and it will be a document that you can view. Or if you use this link, it'll be a document that you can make your own copy of to kind of cross out. But the assignment checklists are also a separate tab. So once you get to this tab and you see all of the assignments for the entire course, you can take a screenshot of this page. You could submit the link to a document that you have looked at, but it's really important to know the pacing guide as well as our assignment checklists. And I always share them out too with the units that are posted and when they're due and things like that. So lastly is just a little bit of information for item 9 and 10. If you have any comments or questions, and just letting me know when you're planning or if you have plans for a schedule to work on the class. It's always pretty important to have time set aside each day to log in and complete some work. So once that's finished, you will just submit that in the Dropbox for the course under orientation. So let me jump back here and see, I guess I should say there, I don't see any chat things that came up, but if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat. And I know I'm talking really fast because I feel like I put too much on the agenda for tonight, but that's okay. So the next item I'm going to bring up are notebook checks. And then I'll also highlight on this page that Unit 1 is what we're going to get into, and it is due on Friday, el 18 de junio. So as I highlight notebook checks, I'm going to jump over to this is the assignment checklist for Unit 1. And what I'll generally do during a live lesson is I'll just work through the tasks and we'll kind of talk a little bit about the lessons, and then we'll do 1 or 2 examples for each until we kind of run out of time. So each unit has a notebook. So here you can see a notebook check. The very first assignment says notebook check 1. So in the course under Unit 1, the very first assignment is always going to be, except for the very last unit, a notebook check. And this is a way for you to look at what notes need to be taken and how they align with the course. So you'll be able to see that Unit 1 is a review unit, and the notes you're going to take are about verbs, the meanings and conjugations, adjectives, meanings and the grammar, and then school review. So when we look at these items, we can see concept 1, it's called conversaciones básicas, and concept number 2 is called ¿Qué haces tú? These 2 items, or what do you do? These 2 items will go in with that very first notebook check with verbs, talking about what you do and reviewing present tense conjugations. Concept 3, it says, ¿Cómo son los estudiantes? How are you? Or how are the students? And that's where you'll look at adjectives and grammar and meaning there. And then number 3 says school review. And that is where concept 3 comes in, la escuela y las clases. So you might be asking, so where do I get the notes? So if I were to click on, I'm just going to click on concept 4, every concept title has vocabulary for you. So here is some vocab given in English and in Spanish. So that's kind of a first place where you can get some of the notes. But the other important place is under concept 4 or under the instructional materials. So when I click there, this is where there will be videos for you. This one's a short, in a kind of a short concept, but there's videos, and then there, of course, down here is the vocabulary, and then other videos and a task and things like that. So the notes are found not only on the vocabulary portion, but also within the concept. Okay. So that is what will happen for that first assignment with notebook check 1. And once you take your notes, there is a Dropbox where on that notebook check page, you'll be able to take a screenshot, take a video, whatever's easiest for you, and you'll turn it in here. Okay. So now I'm going to go back and we're going to look at some of these tasks. So we're going to jump into task 1. It's called una conversación. So the instructional materials have all of the vocabulary and videos teaching items around this, but we're going to look at this together. So it's just talking about imagine you're a new student and you want to get to know them. You're going to write a short conversation with at least 8 lines in Spanish. Okay. So let me jump back here and we're going to una conversación. So we're writing a conversation that is 8 lines, okay? So I'm just gonna write A, student B. So you might just wanna start with something as simple as, hola, amigo. And student B may say, buenos dias. Okay, so very simple, good morning. So then this person might say, ¿cómo estás? How are you? So then student A may answer with estoy muy bien. Gracias. Okay, so now they may ask back, ¿y tú? And you, how are you? So student B may answer the same and we'll say here estoy bien. And then they may say, and then I might skip and go to person A and ask the question, ¿cómo te llamas? So this is very basic, just a greeting of hello, how are you, what's your name? Okay, so I'll have student B answer here with me llamo Señora Powell. Okay, and then they could ask back and kind of say goodbye. So right now we have uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. So there's 6 lines right there. And that's kind of a way to get you started with this first assignment. So the next steps may be to kind of exchange the other person's name as well as maybe say goodbye. Adios. So we'll move right on to task 2, introducciones formales. And this is here we go. This is a discussion board. So you're just going to greet me using the appropriate, I guess you're going to use the usted form, the appropriate way. And you're going to start with a greeting, tell them your name, and ask 2 questions that we've kind of learned. So I'm just going to bounce back here when we're reviewing some of these basic conversations. I am actually going to duplicate this a little bit. And this is our introducciones formales. So I'm going to take some of these because it's saying that you're required to say your name. So I might say me llamo or greet your teacher. So I might say instead of hola amigo, I might use hola señora. Oh, here we go. Hola señora Powell. So there is part of my greeting. Then it talks about back here, tell your name and ask 2 questions. So I might use this down here. So part of this is going to be me llamo, and I'm going to say me llamo Sawyer. Just going to use my daughter's name here. So then it says ask 2 questions. So 2 questions I could ask, I could take directly from here. ¿Cómo estás? And I could use ¿Cómo te llamas? Now, the downside to just taking these 2 questions is that these are using the to form and you need to use the usted form because you're talking to a teacher. So I'm just going to take the to form out and use ¿Cómo está? And ¿Cómo se llama? Okay, and that changes it to the more formal way. And then if you want, you could go ahead and give an adios or so on. So that is the introducciones formales. So let's jump back here. And now we're moving into, quickly into verbs and conjugations. So I expect that we're going to spend some time here in concept 2. So we may have to delay concept 3 and 4 just a little bit for reviewing. But name that subject is an assessment where, here we go, where you're reviewing subject pronouns, okay? And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here for a second, and I'm gonna share my entire screen. All right, here we go. So with this portion, this is one that it's a practice assignment. So you are going to use the subject pronouns that are like I, you, he, she, and so on. And these subject pronouns are listed in the instructional materials. So with this, you're just going to use let me jump back here, just so I can highlight this review. I don't want to just skip it over. So subject pronouns are listed here. And this is what you will use, and I'm just going to add it to the bottom of here for right now. This is what you'll use to assist with completing this assignment. So when let me go like this. So when we look at this, name that subject, you're going to look to see y'all in Spain and y'all formal. So when you look at these items here, y'all in Spain is going to be vosotros or vosotras. You can type in both. And then y'all formal, you can see is listed here, which is ustedes. So now I'm moving on to all of the students. So if I'm referring to all of the students, I'm going to use either ellos or ellas. So I'm just going to type in ellos. So I'm looking at my chart here. And again, this is a little bit of a review from Spanish 1. Then it says you as a boss or a teacher. So somebody that is formal, looking at you. So your you formal down here is going to be usted. And I'll do two more here. So Maria y Ana. If I'm going to say Maria y Ana, they are nice, I'm going to use ellas here. Okay, for they, all feminine. And the last one we'll do together is all of us girls. So all of us, we are talking. So we're going to use we, and the feminine here is nosotras. Okay. So you'll continue on doing that in the same way, using the chart over here, and then at the end, you'll just say I've finished with that specific assignment. So now let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at practicing conjugations. Okay, so practicing conjugations is another really big one from Spanish 1. And let me just go ahead and do this very quickly. So these are our subject pronouns. Okay. So as we look at our conjugating, this first assignment is solely a practice, okay? You can click on the direct link. Sometimes it won't show directly in the class, so the link is there. But this is going to, it says it's a graded practice. However, it's just one that you kind of practice on your own and can do a certain amount of time. But in order to practice the regular tense verbs, you can do it says graded, but it's not. You can do its kind of a typing practice, flashcards, or games. So this is one that you can do, on your own, and that does not get sent to me, but is a good way to practice. So when we talk about conjugating, we're going to actually conjugate in the present tense. Okay, and here's another practice we're going to get started with, but I'm going back to our instructional materials. So once you look at or review those subject pronouns, the very next item that we look at is talking about verb structure. So we have AR, ER, and IR verbs, and then we look at how to conjugate them. And just keep in mind that with our AR, ER, IR verbs, we take off the ending, and then we're going to put something back onto it. And what we put onto it aligns with who it's referring to. So looking at these endings, I'm going to pop that right in here. Depending on who it's referring to, if it's referring to I, you'll use the O, which is in that first block. If it's referring to tú, you'll use the as or es in that second block, and so on. So as we look at this conjugating in the present tense, I'm going to go ahead and start this, and we will look at our notes together as well as this. And let me see if I can. Okay, we'll use this for right now. So number 1, it says ellas y ver. So the first step is you take off that ER and we're going to add the appropriate ending. So for ellas, which is down here, we're going to use EN. Ellas ven. Okay. So here we have tú and the verb compartir. So the first thing you do is take off that IR, and then the to form for an IR verb, if I look over here, tú is going to be, and this is an IR ending, is going to be tú compartes. So our next one, ella, and the verb to read, leer. Our first step is to take off the ER, and when we find ella and the ER endings, it's going to be lee, like this. So she reads. Then the next one here, usted, and the verb estudiar. We're going to take off that AR. We'll find usted here and our AR endings, and we're going to add estudia. So we'll do one more together here. So we have nosotros and the verb escribir. We're going to take off that IR. And when we look at our nosotros and our IR endings, we're going to add imos for rewrite. And you'll go ahead and complete that process for the rest of those and then say, I've finished when you're done. So looking at conjugating verbs, the next step is going to be kind of writing some of the verbs. So looking at this task, ¿qué haces? You are going to respond to the following question with at least 5 sentences. So what do you do in your free time? And it can be on your own or it can be with friends. So let's get some examples of this assignment. And I'm going to go ahead, I think, and just place it right here on ¿qué haces? I'm going to put it on this portion here. So we need 5 sentences that say what you do. So I might say, yo trabajo mucho durante el día. So one thing that I do is I work a lot during the day. So trabajo. And here's an AR verb that I'm adding the ending onto it. So I could say mi familia y yo jugamos mucho en un lago. Okay, so we kind of play a lot. And you know what? I'm going to change that. Jugamos mucho durante el verano. And I'm adding more to it, but my family and I, we play a lot during the summer. So there's 2 sentences. And one more I might add. I might say, nosotros, for we, nadamos en un lago. So we swim in a lake. So you're just going to kind of write 5 sentences similar to this that have verbs in them. Things like work, play, swim. And all of those verbs are also listed in part of that vocabulary. So as I jump back up here, that brings us to the end of that concept 2. So I'm going to jump down here actually to concept 4. So concept 4, and you know what, never mind, I don't want to skip concept 3, but concept 3 talks a lot about how you are and describing yourself. So the very first practice assignment is one that is similar to the practicing with adjectives. This assignment will not come to me. So you're going to click here for the activity, and it's one that you'll just practice with to get familiar with the adjectives again. The next one, talking about practica con ser. So ser is a verb for to be, okay? And there's a fun little song here that will help you remember ser. And then it also asks you to complete this activity. Now this activity is one, again, it's not going to go directly to me, but in this case, it's a review of that verb ser. So you're gonna go ahead and complete that. So you're gonna have a practice with adjectives, and then a practice with ser. And then it brings together this last assignment. And this last assignment with como eres asks you to write 4 sentences describing yourself, 4 describing another person in your life, and 4 describing a group of people in your life. So this is one I want to do together. So when I jump back here, and I'll put the title in there first. So we need 4 sentences describing yourself. Okay, so these 4 sentences are all going to start off with yo. So I might say, yo soy paciente. I'm patient. Yo soy ordenada. I'm organized. So there's 2 sentences out of the 4. So you're going to keep going with that yo soy and continue on with some adjectives that you are. So now you're going to do for describing someone else. So I'll use my daughter, Sawyer. Okay. Sawyer es graciosa. She is funny. Ella es a veces perezosa. Okay, sometimes lazy, which I'm saying that because she is lounging on the couch right now. So there are two sentences describing someone else. So they're going to have es within them. Okay. So now you'll do 4 sentences describing a group of people. So you could be a part of that group or not. So I might say, the group of people I might say Sawyer y Connor is my son, son muy divertidos. So they are very fun, okay? I could then add nosotros somos, that's funny. So nosotros somos, or I'm gonna use no somos aburridos. So we are not boring. So here you're using son if you are not included. But then if I change it to we, I'm going to use somos, okay? So just keep in mind that these are 2 examples and you don't have to change it up like here, but you're going to be using soy in the first ones, and then you're going to be using es in the second ones, and then either son or somos in the last group, okay? So with that being said, you know what? I'm going to keep pushing through since this is recorded, because the very last item we're going to look at is this La Escuela y las Clases. And I want to talk about this assignment because it's going to have a little bit of flexibility because, of course, it's summer and this is an online class. But you are just going to write 5 commands that you think are important for this class. So it might be a little bit different from others. So those 5 commands you can take directly from the instructional materials. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that concept 4 and keep in mind all that vocabulary is here. So you can take directly from here things like siéntate, sit down. You can take repite here. You can put some of these together and you could use the verb usar and say usa, or you could use things like mira la computadora, look at the computer, as click here. So there are some commands that are already on here that for this task, you will go ahead and create 5 of those and put a picture to go along with the command. And the picture can be you, or it can be one that you get off the internet. Okay. So I can't believe that I went through each of those in this amount of time with only going over 3 minutes. So with that being said, I'm going to clean up these notes a little bit. I did mention that the live lessons are not required. They're optional, but they will always be helpful with going over some examples, and I'll always leave time for questions if there are any. But I do like to just keep track of who attends and who watches them. So this is for anybody. You can access this link after the fact. If you're watching the recording or if you're here tonight, you'll complete that form just to let me know that you accessed it or that you watched it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And I am going to, I'm looking at the question. I'm going to put the attendance form in here. Okay, so you can go ahead and complete that, but there was a question. That's a good one, Michaela. It says, do you have to have yo besides soy? And you do not. You can just use soy if you would like. And same with things like somos and maybe even es. In that first example where I said Sawyer es, graciosa, I could have just said es and put something else just because I'm already talking about her. But that's a good question. You don't have to use yo in front of the soy. But I went ahead and put the attendance code in the chat. And if you're watching this afterwards, you can access it from the presentation and complete it to let me know you watched it. But I am going to mute myself and I'm going to stop recording here.